This man's lifelong ambition is to be involved in a really successful energy business, isn't it?
That's right. Thank you, John.
Would you read this for us then, please?
Sure. In Britain, there's an energy business which, since 1966, has increased its number of customers by nearly 200,000 a year on average, now supplying 16 million homes with fuel, down 145,000 miles of pipeline. So technologically advances our business that we're selling our expertise in around 20 different countries throughout the world. Who's this we, anyhow?
Well, it's, British Gas.
British Gas?
Yeah. How does it feel now you've achieved your lifelong ambition?
Great, just great. John, this coffee's terrible.
British Gas. Energy is our business.
In 1983, Peugeot launched the 205, voted best small car in the world. 1985, success confirmed. A Peugeot 205 wins the World Rally Championship. 1986, success comes again with the new British-built Peugeot 309. This small family hatchback sells even faster from launch than the 205. To celebrate this achievement, throughout August, Peugeot dealers are offering deals across the entire 309 range, including 0% APR finance on the 309 1.3 GL. Peugeot, the lion goes from strength to strength.
Lynx, body spray for men.
The V6, triggered by its computer, sounds like a racer for the first time. Perhaps this, at last, is the end of the beginning.
Perhaps, but with complicated wiring problems. And problems with the onboard computer. And even crutch strap problems.
Oh! No!
What does the future hold for the big day? All will be revealed in Equinox, the conclusion of Turbo. Tomorrow at 8, on 4.
This is Anglia Television. Now the latest news from ITN with the time at 10 o'clock.
Boy George's American songwriter died of drugs. Why the market got the jitters on its worst day. One reason, Australia's worst floods in half a century. The Manchester Masons insist they know nothing of the Stalker case. And Pavarotti, all 20 stone, says he's in trouble on the scales. Good evening. Scotland Yard scientists have confirmed that Boy George's songwriter friend, whose body was found in one of the pop star's homes this morning, died of a drug overdose. Michael Rudetsky, who was 27, arrived from New York 2 days ago to work on some new songs. Police have already interviewed Boy George and his brother Kevin O'Dowd, who found the body. The police say they'll be taking no further action.
Boy George finally emerged to face the cameras, mourning the loss of his friend and yet another round of inevitably bad publicity. He didn't want to discuss the songwriter's death. His parents had arrived to talk to their son, whose own full, frank confession of his fight against heroin addiction was spread across a tabloid newspaper this morning. Mr. Rudetsky died at another house owned by the singer in London's Hampstead. Police were called in the early hours. An ambulance crew arrived but were turned away. The American was already dead of asphyxiation brought on by a drug overdose. Boy George's brother Kevin had found the body lying on the lounge floor. He's living in the house while on bail on a charge of conspiring to supply heroin to the star. A hearse arrived from a local undertaker's. And then the body of Michael Rudetsky, dead at 27, was brought out under a blanket. Boy George had brought him from America, hoping to use his talents to create new hit records.
Well, he was classified as maybe one of the most brilliant session musicians, more or less using the Fairlight and other sophisticated synthesizers. He was very much in demand. Everybody would want to use him for their records. The top producers in New York would call him constantly. He would work really a lot.
Boy George's singing career has hit a rough patch. His recent conviction for possessing heroin didn't help. It cost him lucrative contracts and embroiled his friends and his family in legal troubles. After his conviction, he had this to say.
I started taking it a long, long time ago. I mean, you know, casually. And then, one day you wake up and you realise that it's a problem. You know, you start taking it casually, it doesn't affect you, and then suddenly it becomes part of your body.
Mrs. Thatcher is reported to be working tonight in the King Edward VII Hospital for Officers in London, where she's had an operation on her hand. Doctors said it was successful. Mr. Dennis Thatcher issued his own bulletin after visiting his wife. He said she's in very good nick, though her finger was a little sore. The Prime Minister's expected out of the hospital by the weekend.
The London stock market had its worst day today, knocking £4,000 million off share values, as worries about engineering, insurance, oil and the economy generally all came together. The Financial Times index closed at 1,233.7, down 32.1 on the day. The slide began when Sir Trevor Holsworth, chairman of the big engineering company GKN, said there were adverse trends which were likely to go on. That took 56 pence off GKN's share price, a fall of 16%. It took 26 pence off Hawker, another big engineer, and 14 pence off Lucas. And no one was sure if the rise in the oil price would stick or disappear.
The major oil companies are breathing a sigh of relief that crude oil prices are on the way up. They say the price war of the past few months means they're losing money on petrol sales. One said today things were really desperate. According to oil company figures, the cost breakdown on an average UK gallon at £1.57 is this. The taxman takes the biggest slice, 108.6 pence. The retailer gets 7.8 pence per gallon. That leaves the oil companies 40 pence. They say 20 pence goes on their overheads. That leaves just 20.6 pence to buy crude and make profits.
Well, they've always said they're losing money on petrol. Even when the price was over £2 a gallon, they said that. I think they don't make money on the retailing of petrol in this country. They make the money from the refining of it and from the getting it out of the ground.
In London, the oil market was calmer after the biggest one-day rise in crude prices for more than 10 years. Some analysts think dealers overreacted. But even if crude prices start easing down a little, the oil companies are plainly determined to push petrol prices up. Mark